Let me tell you a story. I was a shy kid. My parents always taught me not to stand out, and I only had one friend, a little girl whose grandma was our neighbor. But I loved watching cartoons. In the cartoons, anything was possible. They went beyond the boring boundaries of real life. They were funny, exciting, bold, cool, and I would simply get lost in them. Now, I didn't go to kindergarten because I was often sick, so my parents would take me to another neighbor, a woman in her 50s with 2 grown-up sons, and she would look after me. So at her place, I would mostly watch cartoons, but one day, she said that one of her sons had video games in the other room, and I can play them if I want to. Video games? What's that? That day shaped the rest of my life. Welcome to the Communication Couch. The console in question was the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, and the first game I ever played in my life was called The Adventure Island 3. I couldn't believe my eyes, or fingers. I could control the figure on the screen. It was like a cartoon that I could play. All this action, riding dinosaurs, riding waves, beating evil snakes. I was doing that. I, a little pale kid who couldn't even run without hurting himself, was doing all of that. In this other reality, of course, but it was as good as real. My parents bought the console for me and life became great. There were so many worlds to explore, so many enemies to beat, so many secrets to discover, so many journeys to embark on, and so many memories to create. And then, one glorious day, my mom entered my room and said the words to me that I still remember to this very day. Would you like me to buy you a PlayStation? Mom, thank you for a great childhood. I still play video games, and looking back, I can tell that they really taught me a whole lot. There is of course the common argument that games make you better at spatial relations and using technology in general, but there is also much more to it. Video games give you a clear challenge, a clear goal you're trying to achieve, like get to the end of the level. They give you certain mechanics or tools you can use like jump and shoot, and you have to combine them and find the strategy that will help you succeed. Sounds familiar? Because everything in life works that way. But the great thing about video games is that 2/3 of the time you actually fail. On the one side, that's because in the early days they wanted you to fail to spend more money, but also because that makes the experience so much more rewarding. It is through that process of repeated failure where you have to try harder every time, try out different strategies, that the time you succeed feels so great. So in video games, failure is a crucial part of the process. It's not over when you fail. Yeah, you die, but you respawn. If you fail, you just see that the strategy you tried didn't work, so try another. How much more successful would we all be if we applied this to our everyday lives? And of course, like the movies, games are a way of escapism, of trying out a different life from the one we have. Thanks to books, movies, and games, you're not bound to the country or the time you were born in, or even the person you are. From medieval Europe to outer space, from a war hero over a chef to the most evil scum that ever lived, you can be anyone. And that is so therapeutic. It gives you a chance to leave your problems, worries, and even your personality at the door and simply be anyone you want. So while that goes for all works of fiction, video games are the most immersive in that regard. A movie plays its course regardless of you. Hell, you can even fall asleep. The hero will save the world and the movie will finish, but a game will finish only if you save the world. For me personally, since I played and still play so many games where I take different identities, this also reflected itself on how I experience myself and my own identity. I don't like to see my identity as something stable. chiseled in stone, so I always have to be the same person. At different times, I may feel like doing different things, having different interests and tastes, talking about different stuff. I may feel like being someone else at different times in my life. And I'm comfortable switching between these identities. It just feels like playing different games. Ultimately, I think the biggest positive effect of playing games is that you grow to see life through the medium of games. And that can be really advantageous. Just like in games, life consists of problems that you have to solve with the tools and abilities you have at your disposal. You fail a lot. You might get angry and curse a lot, but with enough persistency, if you try enough things, one of them will work. And when it does, you get to the next level and then you do it again. As the levels go on, they get harder and harder, but you also gain new tools and abilities, so you also get better and better. Dear video games, I love you.